In a quiet country town called Valverde lives Laura, a woman whose heart overflows with kindness and generosity. Laura is a true light in the lives of everyone around her, especially her family. As a devoted wife and mother, she strives to ensure the well-being and happiness of her loved ones. Laura's home is always a welcoming place, where the doors are always open to friends and family. Among Laura's many close friends is Maria, a long-time friend who often visits her home. Maria and Laura share a special friendship, built up over years of laughter, tears, and unforgettable moments together. Maria is a constant presence in Laura's life, helping her with the housework, sharing family meals, and offering emotional support in difficult times. Laura trusts Maria as she would a sister, and their friendship is one of the most important pillars of her life. But a few days have passed since Laura noticed some peculiar behavior in her friend Maria. During a sunny Saturday afternoon, while they were preparing lunch together in the kitchen, Maria began to praise Laura's husband Carlos excessively. She commented on his kindness, his intelligence, and his appearance, making Laura feel a little uncomfortable. Although she felt upset by Maria's excessive compliments, Laura tried not to take any notice. After all, she trusted her friend completely and didn't want to create any unnecessary conflicts. However, a subtle nagging persisted in her heart, like a shadow of doubt that she couldn't completely ignore. Laura decided to approach the subject delicately, in an attempt to better understand her friend's feelings. One quiet afternoon, as they enjoyed a cup of tea in the garden, Laura casually brought up the subject, mentioning Maria's recent compliments to Carlos. To her surprise, Maria seemed disconcerted by Laura's remark and tried to play down her words, saying that she only appreciated Carlos' admirable qualities as a friend. Laura wanted to believe her friend, but a feeling of unease persisted in her mind. As the days passed after that conversation with Maria, Laura began to notice a subtle change in the behavior of her husband Carlos. He seemed distant and critical, especially towards Laura. Instead of complimenting his wife as he usually did, Carlos began to point out flaws in her appearance and make subtle comparisons with Maria. Laura was disconcerted by this sudden change in Carlos' behavior. She wondered if her suspicions were correct, if Maria had exerted some influence on him. However, she tried not to let these thoughts disturb her, choosing instead to believe in her husband's goodness and their mutual trust. However, the tension in their relationship only increased as the days went by. Laura felt increasingly insecure and hurt by Carlos' criticism, and her confidence began to waver. She wondered if her friendship with Maria was putting her marriage and happiness at risk. Despite her efforts to ignore the alarm bells, Laura couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. She found herself constantly questioning her own choices and wondering if she should confront Carlos about his behavior. That day, Laura went out to do some shopping in the city center, planning to return home quickly. However, traffic was heavy, and she ended up taking longer than expected. When she finally returned, she found a scene that left her dazed and confused. Upon entering her house, Laura saw Maria in the kitchen, preparing an appetizing meal for Carlos. A wave of unease washed over her as she watched the scene. She tried to hide her surprise and confusion, but she couldn't help feeling hurt and betrayed by Maria's presence in her home, preparing food for her husband. Maria soon realized Laura's reaction and tried to calm her down, explaining that she had decided to prepare a special meal as a gesture of friendship, since Laura had taken so long to get home. However, Laura couldn't accept this justification easily. She felt uncomfortable with the situation and questioned her friend's true intentions. To make matters worse, Carlos, noticing the tension in the air, came to Maria's defense, praising her kindness and goodness. He didn't seem to notice Laura's discomfort, which left her even more confused and hurt. Laura felt like she was in a whirlwind of emotions. She was torn between her loyalty to Maria and her discomfort with the situation. As she struggled to process everything that was happening, a sense of mistrust and betrayal began to creep into her heart. A few days later, Laura faced a heated argument with her husband, Carlos, who began to attack her cruelly and unfairly. He questioned her dedication, suggesting that she could be a better wife, even though Laura had always done her utmost to take care of him and the family. The pain of these words cut deep into her heart, leaving her stunned and hurt. It was at this point that Carlos made a decision that further shook the fabric of their marriage. He announced that he was leaving, saying that he knew someone who could treat him better. For Laura, those words were like a blow to the chest, shattering the marriage she had believed to be perfect. The feeling of abandonment and betrayal was overwhelming, leaving her plunged into deep sadness and despair. Laura's husband left, leaving her alone in a sea of tears and uncertainty. It was then that Laura discovered where he had gone. Carlos had sought refuge at the home of Maria, his trusted friend. This revelation hit Laura even harder, because not only her husband, but also the friend she trusted, had betrayed her trust. Faced with the magnitude of the betrayal and the pain, Laura felt lost, aimless. Her world collapsed around her, leaving her facing the emptiness of a broken marriage and the uncertainty of an uncertain future. After a long and arduous process of overcoming, Laura emerged from the ashes as a strong and determined woman. She channeled all her energy and determination into building her own company, immersing herself in studies and hard work. With her dedication and talent, she became a successful entrepreneur, gaining recognition and respect in her field. Over the years, Laura has learned to let go of past hurts and move on with her life. She learned of her ex-husband's marriage to Maria, but this didn't shake her. Laura was focused on her own journey of self-discovery and fulfillment, determined not to let the past define her. However, one day, while she was busy in her company's office, Laura received an unexpected message on her cell phone. To her surprise, it was from her ex-husband. He expressed remorse and regret for everything that had happened between them. He admitted that he had been wrong about Maria, revealing that the first few months of their marriage had been good, but soon her true nature revealed itself. Her ex-husband confessed that Maria wasn't half the woman Laura had been to him. She didn't look after the house or him in the same way that Laura did. He deeply regretted the choices he had made and begged for Laura's forgiveness. Laura was shocked by the message, flooded by a mixture of emotions. The pain of the past resurfaced, but there was also a feeling of compassion for her ex-husband. She knew she needed to think carefully about her words before replying. After a few minutes of reflection, Laura found the serenity she needed to respond to her ex-husband's message. With a heart full of compassion, she wrote that she forgave him from the bottom of her soul, recognizing the importance of releasing the weight of resentment for her own inner peace. However, she quickly clarified that forgiveness did not mean reconciliation or a return to the past. Laura explained that while she forgave, she could not forget the wounds caused and the lessons learned. She emphasized that she had given the best of herself to him during their marriage, but he hadn't appreciated it. Laura admitted that blindly trusting Maria was a mistake on her part, a painful lesson she wouldn't forget. However, she stressed that the greatest responsibility lay with him, as he was the one who had broken the wedding vows and betrayed her trust. With firmness, Laura concluded the conversation, making it clear that her ex-husband now had to bear the consequences of his choices. She compared trust to a broken cup, explaining that once broken, it could never be fully restored. It was a lesson she had learned the hard way, and now it was time to move on with her life, leaving the past behind. After receiving Laura's reply, the ex-husband was overcome by a mixture of regret and despair. He was confronted with the consequences of his rash and selfish choices. The belated realization that he had wasted a true love haunted him, leaving him distraught at the weight of his own decisions. Meanwhile, Laura moved on with her life, determined not to let betrayal and bitterness consume her. She recognized that her marriage had failed, not for lack of effort on her part, but because of Maria's jealousy and machinations. Laura found strength in adversity, turning pain into growth and learning. The truth about Maria came out, revealing her true jealous and manipulative nature. Her false friendship served only as a veil to hide her evil intentions. Laura learned her lesson the hard way, but emerged stronger and wiser than ever. This story reminds us of the importance of being vigilant about the people we allow into our lives and our relationships. Sometimes those who approach us with kind smiles hide their darkest intentions behind their masks of friendship. We must be cautious and protect our homes and relationships from evil disguised as kindness. May this story teach us to be more judicious in our friendship choices and to protect our most precious relationships from predators disguised as friends.